Once upon an apocalypse, in a 1997 wasteland, there was a kid, his friend, and a bad guy trying to control everything. With his BMX and turbo glove, the kid had no choice but to take on the bad guy in a no-holds-barred, gory brawl. But when the dust had settled and the damage was too great, the kid rode away into the wasteland sunset to explore what was left of the world. That, boiled down to its essence, is the synopsis of Turbo Kid, a low-budget sci-fi superhero movie that, most likely, many have never heard of nor seen. That makes reviewing a video game based on said movie a rather amazing thing in of itself, not only because it's based on a movie that came out in 2015 and promptly disappeared into the cult market, but because movie tie-ins have a checkered past. The chances of a good adaptation are, as we've sadly come to accept, pretty thin on the ground if not backed by massive studios. We throw the expression labor of love around a lot when it comes to entertainment, and this is one of those times where it shows throughout the experience. Developers Outermind Inc. have joined forces with the original movie team to create an experience that channels the essence of the movie, while expanding upon it in significant ways. The world feels bigger and more detailed, with a history behind it that shines through in what you're told, along with the many visual clues showcasing this new version of a post-apocalyptic 1997. There's a new cast of odd characters, even weirder situations, and a more fleshed-out take on the world, revealed through impressive visual storytelling. The game doesn't set out to recreate the movie in playable form. Instead, it continues where the movie left off, with the kid riding out into the wasteland. He doesn't get very far, though, before he's ambushed and robbed of his weapons and bike. Thus begins a new journey to get his stuff back, that eventually dovetails into a new threat for the struggling survivors of this world. The kid's journey is canon, though there are two playable characters you can choose from, the kid or his friend Apple. Apple's journey is a non-canon one, and even if you haven't watched the movie, it's not hard to guess why. There's a lot of story on offer here, either to give context to what's happening, or merely to add some humor to the proceedings, usually through the side quests, which are fun to do because of how they play out versus the rewards. There's a giant mutant rat looking for sweet turtle meat, a mysterious voice educated on bygone cult movies, and the sad tale of a robot looking for meaning, among others. While the story alone is worth the price of admission, we're lucky that it's been paired with some truly addictive gameplay. Turbo Kid is as Metroidvania as it gets, following the common gameplay designs to a T. There's the expansive world to explore, replete with blocked-off passageways and doors that can only be opened with new abilities. There is a variety of enemies that make exploration challenging, hidden pathways to find, and bosses to fight for the aforementioned abilities. While that is as traditional as it gets, Outermind have managed to implement whatever digital magic it is that makes a genre you've played 1,000 times before feel just as exciting as fun as your very first go-around. Turbo Kid managed to grab me right from the get-go, and never let go. As expected, the kid's BMX plays a huge part in traversing the landscape once you've reacquired it. Thanks to the magic of technology, you can teleport it to you anytime, anywhere. Once you have it in your arsenal, it becomes even more apparent just how much like a BMX track the world has been designed to emulate. The labyrinthine layout makes great use of half-pipes and jumps to get you around and reach those hard-to-get areas. You can pull off tricks on your bike and engage in races for various upgrades, such as spiked tires that help you scale walls and ceilings, and plays just as much a part in the multiple-stage boss fights as your Turbo Glove does. While the bulk of your upgrades will be familiar, such as air dashes and charge shots, the game lets you customize passive abilities through a chip system, which gives you extra abilities or enhances standard ones, such as letting your BMX's spike wheel ability last longer. You can only equip 3 chips at a time, though. One control aspect that took me a bit of time to come to grips with is needing to hold down a button to crouch. Holding down a shoulder button for precision aiming was fine, but having to hold one to crouch went against years of ingrained muscle memory of just pressing down on a D-pad or analog stick to crouch in a 2D game. Now, visually, Turbo Kid is a gorgeous pixel art game, featuring wonderful animations for both the characters and background elements. As I've stated before, the visual design does a ton of heavy lifting and breathing life to the world, while telling you its backstory. From the enemies that heft weighty spiked shields around to those ambiguous, drill-headed characters in the background drilling through garbage, Turbo Kid is gorgeous to look at. The art style reminded me of that classic 1991 2D adventure game, Another World, though a more direct inspiration can be found in that other phenomenal 2D action platformer from 2021, Narita Boy, and it's all rounded out with a pretty good soundtrack to boot. If I have any issues with Turbo Kid, it would be that boss fights, well, inventive, can feel a little bullet spongy. It's the one area in the game that did frustrate me occasionally, but on the whole, Turbo Kid is a case of the stars aligning to buck the trend of poor movie tie-in adaptations. It's addictive, impressive, and a whole heap of fun that kept me hooked from the opening to the finale. Turbo Kid isn't just amazing, it's bloody brilliant and one of the best games I've played this year.
If you've got this far, please consider giving the video a like and maybe subscribing to our channel as it helps us grow.